Well, another amazing finish, and I'll state the obvious things first. Matherin was spectacular, especially in the fourth quarter. 28 points, 16 rebounds. I mean, the guy put a will on the game that was a big difference maker. We have a lot to consider before Saturday. There were a lot of things we did not do well that we're going to have to fix. We're talking to the officials too much. We did rebound well with these guys, which was a big challenge coming into the game. So hats off to them. Miles Turner was spectacular. The 22 points, the 10 boards, and the 5 blocks were absolutely difference-making in the game. And look, a lot of guys, when we lost Nemhard in overtime, McConnell came in and was tremendous. Made plays, made free throws, was a leader out there. Really great stuff from him. And then Quentin Jackson in 4 minutes and 23 seconds, 4:23, came in the second quarter and gave us a burst when we were down 10, I think, and helped us chop half the lead off. So we're going to need everybody. Crowd was great, fueled by the skirmish, but, that's all part of it.
What do you make of your team being able to pull out these 3 wins this week when, on all 3 there were moments late, you were behind or tied or needed something huge?
Well, it shows a level of resilience and a level of resourcefulness. And really, what Matherin's done these last 2 games is very special because he just decided that he was going to leave an indelible imprint on the game. And the 16 rebounds for the guy starting at the 2-guard position is unheard of. Okay, that's one thing. But that's a real demonstration of will. And then, it turns into a rat game like a lot of these are, with a lot of switching and a lot of junk defenses. And you got to have people that can make things happen. And he's one of those guys.
What was the difference in overtime, particularly that last minute and 6 seconds when you guys were down 1 and then 7-0 run to close?
I don't remember all the plays, but I know the crowd had a lot to do with it. They lifted our energy. They lifted our vibe, our spirit. And, it's a lot going on right now. A lot going on around the league, a lot going on with standings, with people being dinged up, this, that, and the other. And, right now we got to take care of ourselves. We got to get rested up. And Saturday's going to be another war.
What was your England perspective on the scuffle? I know you mentioned this, but in what ways did you see it lift your team down the stretch?
Well, it's got the crowd into it. It happened during a timeout. They had called timeout, so, but, an indie crowd in that kind of situation is second to none. They get behind their team, and our crowd did, and it really lifted us.
Wanted to go back to Matherin. Obviously, he's always been a guy that's been willing, I guess, in those moments to be the guy to try to go score. But you've obviously worked with a lot of him on efficiency. What did you like about just his approach, how he got to his shots, how he just tried to get to his offense, and what have you liked about him in each of those last 2 fourth quarters that he's been able to pull that off?
He went and got the ball, and then he went and scored it. These teams, these young, athletic, tenacity teams. They take you out of trying to run set offense, and the building's so loud you can't hear anything anyway. And so, we got to be a concept team. Without Ty out there, we have a different configuration, and so we've got to find simple ways to create problems. And one has got to be great defense, and holding these guys to 39 points in second half regulation was a big part of it. And we had a lot of three-stop in a row segments, and, anything less wouldn't have done it.
So on that note, I guess to go back to Miles, I mean, obviously the 5 blocks in that huge one with 18 seconds to go, and just what impressed you about what he was able to do around the rim? It seems like he had, he obviously didn't play as many minutes the other night, took Monday off with the contusion. It seemed like he kind of dove into having a little bit more energy and, just was able to summon a lot at the rim, which would impress you about what he did.
Well, I talked to Miles before the game, and I said to him, you only should be thinking about one thing, and that is getting 10 rebounds or more in this game and every game. Because when he gets 10 rebounds, I mean, so many great things happen for us and him. And so he got 10. It led to those rebounds lead to offensive opportunities for him and others. And then, look, the last block shot that Miles had with 18 seconds to go, that got the crowd even louder than the skirmish. I mean, it was deafening in there. And look, he had to cover ground to get there. I mean, he came from all the way across the lane to do that and shut that thing down.